recording. So forget. First things first for you guys all this week is that we have a lovely training coming up with the glamorous, illustrious Tammy. She's going to come and teach us all about P&Ls, and I'm going to give you my best shot at helping with the things that I have. And I've got a template for you guys. So get ready. It is finally coming after years in the making. And I'm so glad that I have an amazing coach that helps with finances to help us with this. So, very exciting times. We also have, so that is Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Just a heads up, that is coming. I also wanted to let you guys know about my social media manager. I'm going to show you where these lovely things are. So, if you forget, I'm just going to share my screen. So, if you want to join the Q&A, everybody, this is not our typical coaching time. So, anytime I have a guest speaker, I think that Tammy, you might have been the first. Allison was probably our first guest speaker about podcasts, but I actually plan on having a lot more of them coming. I'll get to that next week. But when we're doing that, there's going to be a link to join, never at the typical coaching time. And there's also going to be a link for questions. So if you have any questions for Tammy, please put it here. I will respond to them. I know many of you guys might have a conflict at that time. Please put them here. I will look through them, send it to her, and it's going to be awesome. So exciting news there. The second announcement is that my social media manager, Tess, has actually opened up her business to take on more clients. She decided that she wants to go full time instead of just doing it part time, which is exciting. And within my last group, they asked like what that looks like. So what I have her do, just so you guys have frame of reference, is I still make my copy and I still write the posts. So you might be, they were like, why all she does is post and make the graphics. And I'm like, yes, because I found that when I was scheduling my time, like we talked about the CEO scheduling, for me personally, to actually write and not write, but get the post out there, I found that it became a bit of a pattern that I noticed that it became a time suck. Every time I got onto social, just to post, it was so enticing to me that I would just get sucked in. And there is no way for you to post from your computer. The I found that like apps like Later and stuff like that, I had recommendations to use things like that so I wouldn't have to do this. And those essentially they didn't do sound for my reels, and I was like, well, you know what, we're gonna just go for this, it's gonna be great. And so that is what is going on here. She does the graphics for me. It usually, so she does like things like this, um which is very helpful for me. She'll make the graphic and then she'll just physically post for me. So that is what I pay her to do every single week. Teresia, you're featured. Fun. I was like, we got you up in here. Um, she sometimes gets the spelling wrong. The first post, I don't know if you noticed, but she got your name wrong. So I'm super sorry about that. I was like, take it down. It was like, my God. It was doing so well and it's fine. But within that, she can do that for you. That I think is the first option that she listed in the package. The second thing is to actually do the posting for you. She does this currently for two of my clients and and a friend. So Holly decided that she was like, I just know I need to be consistent. I want to get something out there, even if she isn't really necessarily posting for me. Like she would make the videos herself, but then essentially Holly would do, or Tess would do the posting for Holly. So she wrote some longer form posts and some very short posts either. So that is what I think the second package entails. For my friend, my client Barbara, we are working on getting her video ready. That is something that we've been working on for the past couple of weeks. However, she doesn't even have videos. She literally just writes the copy for her. So she just goes, and I think that this is also related. She's a coach for children of aging parents. So this is kind of what she does for her. Barbara literally has sent her the photos that she got and pretty much nothing else. And she just kind of like went with it, which is really cool. The last person I know that's worked with her is Neha. she should totally pay me an affiliate link. I was like, I'm selling her. But within this, she started working with her here. And so essentially, Neha is an amazing coach. We've been in 200K multiple rounds together. And one of the things that we found is that, like, for her level of professionalism, because she's excellent, it just wasn't reflecting in her marketing. She didn't have graphic design background. A lot of times it was like posts like this that were like great, but like not necessarily engaging in the way that she wanted. So those were the things that she helped with. Um, I've never had her copyright, but I'm sure that she would do an amazing job. She has updated some of the things that I do. Two newsletters. I have not heard she's not done this. She literally just takes my um she takes whatever I posted for my warm post, just like I tell you guys, and that's what she posts on LinkedIn for me, which is very helpful. And then the last piece that you guys might be interested in, I was very interested in it. She is doing PR. So one of the things that you guys might have seen, I know you guys aren't like watching me super close, but I was on my friend Nikisha's podcast and I set this up myself. This is something that I like organized, and I feel like I speak a lot, like I speak pretty eloquently, and I just want to broaden my audience. I want to get out there and do more things and collaborations. I was also featured on Stacey Bateman's podcast, and someone just found me last week from that and asked me to do an interview last week. So I did that as well. But I want more of this in my business. So I've asked her to do that for me. We are starting in March. So I will keep you posted with how that goes if you're interested in something like that. Her email is Tess. I know that a couple of you, not in this group, I don't think, but I think a couple people have already reached out to her. So feel free to reach out to her. She's great. She's very kind. I've really enjoyed working with her. And if there's ever a situation where there's like a misspelling or something like that needs to be taken down, put back up, she's very helpful and does that very quickly. So I really enjoyed working with her and I wanted to like refer her to you guys as a resource. Um, Yay. Also, sorry, I was like, Missy, I missed your comment. I would love to have you join or watch the replay. The last little announcement before we get into teaching is testimonials. I would freaking love to feature you guys. A lot of you all did like our initial, like when we first started the mastermind, and you did like Missy's here, I have a niece here, like all of you guys did that at the beginning. And if you've gotten results so far, I asked my other group to do it, and I was like, might as well ask you guys too if you want to do a testimonial sharing about your experience so far. I would be insanely appreciative. It helps so many people. So feel free if you want to do that. That is in the stream, this link here. So feel free to like make a copy of the group testimonial. Very simple. What have been your breakthrough so far? Why should you join? All that jazz. So lots of quick updates. Are there any quick questions before we get into the monthly checklist? Awesome. All right. So, also just a quick question. This is unrelated to anything I posted. However, when we talked about webinars and presentations, I'm doing a webinar on Monday called the Love Your Offer webinar. It's going to be very similar to the core pillars, talk about how you can utilize them. It's a pretty it's going to be a hefty webinar, more of a nurture webinar. And I talked with my coach about how, like, because I was like, I don't necessarily want to do a really um I'm not sure going into a launch if I want to do a hard sell at the end of this webinar. It's going to be more of a nurturing purpose for the future. However, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a soft sell. So, you know how sometimes people say, like, do as I do, not as I, or do as I say, not as I do. I just wanted to give you my reasoning. If you're looking at the presentations and you're like, I'm not getting any follow up emails from Megan, what is going on? I am going into a launch in March and I'm going to be sending emails like it's like one a day for the weeks coming up to it and three a day the week of. So it's going to be a lot of emails. And I realized that I didn't want to go from selling to selling immediately. So only the people who register for for the webinar are going to get the replay and then two other emails to let them know that I have a one-on-one spot open before April. There's only one, or if they want to do early enrollment for the March round, they can. But I just wanted to let you know because they were like, we're ready to like watch you in action. And they wanted to see the kind of things that I'm going to be doing for this webinar. And I was like, I just wanted to explain my rationale behind that. Don't, I want you to send your all the follow-up emails to everybody. It's just for the specific reason that I'm going into a launch that I'm not going to be sending emails to everybody. Any questions about that? That was like a big thing that we talked about yesterday, 2 hours ago. Okay, cool. Anise, I was like, I looked at you and I remembered. I'm like hiding the people. This is great. So we are going to talk about monthly evaluations today. And this is something that I really would love for you guys to get in the habit of doing. It's just a great way to plan and reset every single month. We're going to talk about the importance behind weekly and monthly evaluation, learning and growing every single time. Then we're going to get into taking that weekly evaluation and amplifying it to your monthly evaluation, thinking about the small improvements that you can make into larger improvements for your whole year for 2024. And then last but not least, a monthly checklist. So, for all of you, I know that it can be our inclination as human beings to not want to evaluate. It feels funky a lot of the time when we are thinking about the way that we are showing up in the past. And so that is something that we want to keep in mind as we do these monthly evals. It's never to be something to berate yourself with, it's just something to learn and grow. I have found that the more that I do evaluations, whether it be the monthly, the weekly, or my annual evaluation, the more that I get that separation between me as the CEO of my business and me as a person who has a business. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we can take things really personally. And if I think about me, myself, owning a business, a lot of times I can take things really, really personally versus when I can take a moment and separate out into the objective things that this is what happened this month, this is what happened this week. It really helps me to move faster as a CEO. And I really want that for all of you too. So within the month, this is the weekly evaluations. We talked about this during the weekly planning and CEO scheduling. And what you want to be doing is you want to refresh your brain and refocus towards your goals every single week. I want you thinking about them top of mind. This is my goal. This is what I'm doing. This is what I want. And I think that would also be really helpful to update before your financial planning when you have more of these updates like, okay, how many posts did I do? How many people did I network with? How many people did I outreach with? This is the rainbow spreadsheet that we have. You could add what was my energy like this week. And then you can just kind of like distance yourself like, okay, you are not your business. Where you're at is amazing. That's what I have here. And this is all just to focus you on the next level of growth for your business. The next piece is that we again are going to be taking copies of this every week, but this is the same thing that we covered before. 5 wins. Is there anything that needs improvement? And what do I want to do differently? All right, moving right along into something new, the monthly checklist. So essentially, we had the weekly checklist. The basic things that you're going to be doing every week are marketing, um, networking, and talking to new leads, lead management, or lead generation, whatever you want to think about it. And we're also going to be doing planning. So you're going to be like planning and making small tweaks each week. However, we talked last week about the annual plan. We talked about doing the annual evaluation, and I've changed these around a little bit. The weeks are irrelevant, but these are things that you want to be doing, and you want to just take the time that you have and start tracking it. So, a lot of you guys have been asking, I'm pretty sure it was you guys that were asking, like, when do you actually do the projections? When do you actually update your annual plan? When do you actually do the monthly eval, which we're about to talk about? And those are the things that you're going to be doing every month. What I do is I do for the first week in the month, what I do is I go through my checklist, which is very long and it looks like this. And then I go through and just check off each of these things. Sharon.
Yeah, so I had a question on when I looked at this. So the monthly checklist we got in the training looks much different than what this is. So there, what you're asking us to do is then take that basic monthly checklist and create something like this. Is that what we're saying? And then include the items that we have learned previously.
I think yes and yes. Let me pull it up just to double check. I don't,
Okay.
I was like, but I'm pretty sure when we go and all click on the template,
Mhm.
it does look different than when I made this presentation initially for the eval that, or the recording that I did this summer. I was like, I've shifted it even since then. But I have the projections, which you learned a couple of weeks ago. I have the client information from that projection spreadsheet. I have like just to make sure like that you're actually doing renewal calls like for 4 sessions before you finish. I have updating annual plan, updating annual goals, the monthly breakdown, which is all in the annual plan sheet from last time, monthly hour one if you want to break down each week, and then the monthly evaluation and weekly evaluation and updating your marketing calendar. So this is the initial stuff that you've learned in this program that I would recommend doing every month. How is this landing so far?
Yeah, it's fine. I just I had kind of created a layout. I was just trying to make sure I was yeah, so it's just going back to those different items and kind of like this is your checklist for that. Okay.
Yeah, just to be like, oh yeah, we did this. We want to make sure that we actually use this. And I'll update this in our slides just so it's less confusing. Thank you so much for like bringing that to my attention. I'm just going to go boop. This is what it looks like. And it looks like this. Now, as time has passed with my business, what I've realized is that there is so much more than like I've added stuff as my business needed it. So I think that's your following question. So this is what the spreadsheet looks like for you. This is what the document that you have in your notes looks like. However, this is what mine looks like now. It's over on the right. It's like I have different documents for receivables. I did QuickBooks. Needed to remember each of the steps. I know that sounds crazy, but like I actually include that for you guys if you're into QuickBooks or things like that, that you want to be including as well. I just didn't remember all the stuff. I needed to do my expenses, which is what we're kind of going to talk about with Tammy next week. I also needed to remember this is like random stuff that I needed to remember that I would forget. So whenever my computer is lagging, it's because I haven't deleted all the Zoom calls I have. So I'm like, I need to take 2 minutes to delete all the Zoom calls from the past month because my computer is going slow. I need to change payroll, which is something that you guys aren't going to do until you're over the, from what I understand from my accountant, and there are different philosophies on this, is around the 50K mark. That's when I started paying myself. And you start paying yourself way sooner. It just depends on your accountant and what they prefer you to do. Update the marketing calendar. I needed to remember to sign up for self coaching scholars where I would get some free coaching. I used to get 100 um, one-on-one coaching from 200K. I would also sign up for like networking groups. That's what I have in here. So that's a really, really great question. How are you feeling about that now upon seeing this?
Yeah, that's fine. I was just trying to figure out how to kind of streamline it so that way I didn't, I created it streamlined so that way it didn't take up as much time.
Awesome. Great. I was like, is there anything that you feel like maybe other people could learn from, or is it specifically for your business?
No, I think as we go through the training, I have a couple other questions and then maybe there'll be something helpful to everyone else.
I love it. Awesome. Okay, great. So that is the initial piece of it is to do your monthly checklist. And see, look, I told y'all my computer is going slow. I need to delete some Zoom calls evidently. It's like not letting me present. It will in a second. Like, well, we're gonna do it small. I was like, that is fine. Do you guys see that my computer's like not letting me click on things? I love this. Okay, here we go. Getting better. I don't know. Something's going on. My clicker is not clicking. That's okay. Maybe I need a new mouse. But in any event, let's see if this works. I'm using my other computer. Huh. Okay. So we're just gonna roll with it. Um, Within your problem solving, this is something that I like to add to. This is again something that if you have time for, great. Again, we're adopting, and abandoning as needed for your business. But I found that each month there were bigger things that I wanted to check in on. And lucky for you guys, you do this every single week. So with the managing leads, marketing, sales, and planning, those are the four categories you have. There's also presenting and delivery that I included in the past, but those are things that you want to be making sure that you include and just kind of like checking in, like, what would it look like to be a 10 for each of these categories? And Sharon, what is your question?
So back to that spreadsheet is at the top, it says the 6 pillars. No, where you just were at the monthly evaluation.
You mean this one here? It's coming.
Mhm.
I changed it from 6 to 4. Is that your question?
No.
Okay. Moving back.
Okay, at the top it says 6 pillars are mindset, sales, marketing, operations, finance, and product. So you're saying that that should not be the topic up there, that the other ones, the ones below is what we should be, the managing, marketing, that. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah. And I realized
I
that.
was just thinking I was missing something
So
there.
good. No, that is such a good question. And before we go and make that, do not do this one, and I'll fix it for you. So you can get a copy of the correct one. So I was like, didn't even realize that there was a typo there. So thank you. Great call out. Let's see here. Monthly eval. Checking out this. It's like below, write down what you're experiencing for the pillars, managing leads, marketing, sales. And I'm just going to go through and delete these. Awesome catch. Thank you. I was like, sometimes I make those edits and I don't actually make the edits in my brain and I don't make it for my actual template. So thank you for the check.
So one other thing that came up with that,
Mhm.
something that I noticed is when we did our annual plan, we had like miscellaneous and discovery in there. What I'm finding is what got me stuck a little, well, it didn't really get me stuck, but I was just trying to be consistent because as I'm taking my annual plan, I implement it monthly, and then I take those items and implement it weekly. I was noticing that some things from the annual plan, like discovery and miscellaneous, then wasn't carried over into the monthly or the weekly. So I can't be consistent with my annual if it's not covered into the other one. So that's where I was getting a little confused.
No, that's such a good question. So the miscellaneous and discover are for your personal life?
Mm-hmm.
So did that just, I looked like your face just had like a light bulb moment. You
Let
can
me see.
include that in your business. We include annual planning. So one of the things I like to do is when I'm thinking about my annual plan, the reason why I include my personal life into that is because a lot of times what I'll need is I'll forget I'm going on a trip. Like when I worked on my annual plan, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going on a trip. Definitely need to make sure I'm including time for this, that I'm not doing my webinar on this week, and things like that. However, when you're going through your monthly evaluation, you could evaluate your personal life for sure. Like you definitely can. And I think that's a great kind of like philosophy to get into. And I just didn't want to teach that in this because the majority, like you guys are all life coaches, but I do have some other people that aren't coaches that I work with. And it's cool to evaluate your life, but it wasn't something that was business related that I include in my checklist. However, again, adopt and add this as you need to. If you want to add that, like you're going on a trip and things like that, and how your life went, what I'm hearing you say is like including like a couple for your life here in the evaluation piece of things. Did I get that right? Like, or like include that here, like
Yeah, I think I was just trying to, and that makes sense, the personal goals versus the business goals. And I was just looking at taking the annual, breaking it down into the monthly, breaking it down into the weekly. So that way you're just being consistent in your planning and your evaluations and your scheduling. So because it's really easy to plan it annually, but then you never do it.
Right, exactly. And then you're like, wait a second, I was gonna play guitar this year. I wanted to learn German. What happened? I think that's a great addition to the typical monthly checklist. And I think that's a really good point. If you want to be like, when I talk about like this number 3 here, where it says update annual plan, that's a lot of times where I'll look at my calendar and be like, oh, okay, I need to make sure that I'm talking like I'll look at my month here and I'll be like, okay, for April I'm not traveling, but I'm doing a ton of travel in May. So I will change that there. And that's really, really helpful for me too. And so if you guys that's what I do on here. But if you want to have like another place where you're writing it, if you want to have another place, like that's I would highly, highly recommend that. I think that's seriously, like Sharon, I think that's a great idea for like adding it, making sure you actually hit it in
Well,
your
and I
week to
think
week
for
to week
me,
plan.
it's good because I can be a lot of all work and no play. So I got to schedule play.
Yes, you got it. I was like, seriously, like that is like the biggest thing. I hyper schedule things, but I never like I'm going on a trip in April. I'm going to go there's like I'm going to this thing in Boston with my little brother. I'm going to this meeting in for No BS for Corinne Crabtree. A friend of mine did her ads and she was like, let's go and like have a blast. And I was like, of course. So I still put that stuff on here for sure. And I take that with my annual plan and I make sure I include that in here. And then I also include like my life. And I'm like, okay, I know I need to lunch in March. That's important too. So definitely schedule play. And it's the first thing I do in my calendar. I'm like, okay, what's my free time? How am I taking care of myself? That's number one. And then I add my business stuff in there too. Really, really good question. I was like, I'm sorry, I was like, I am so sorry, friends, that this was not correct. I'm just gonna change it now for future groups. Thank you so much for your patience because you were the first group I actually shifted my pillars with. So, fun fact, this is awesome. And thank you for being my new guinea pigs for for these pillars and making sure that all of the resources are updated. I will make sure that it's ready for the future groups. And I'm sorry about that. Thank you, Sharon. Excellent, excellent eye. Are there any other questions about this? Okay. Feel like I was like, if you do, feel free to raise your hand. I was like, this is like a great time that we can collaborate. If you have other ideas and you like seriously add stuff that other people are doing, I think it's awesome. So within this, in the chat, I've included the monthly checklist. Go ahead and minimize me. Make the correct monthly checklist template. It looks like this. You're going to take this, go here, find your lovely Six Figure Systems folder, make a new folder for 12 monthly checklists and evaluations, and put that there. And then from there, go back to the Google Classroom, click on the monthly eval template, move that into the same folder. So 12 monthly checklists and evaluations. And this should be the correct one. The other thing is, I know that a bunch of you guys are making Google Classrooms for your clients too. I had a client talk to me about how she spent 6 hours on it this weekend. I'm like, that is awesome. I want you guys to be doing this. It is so fun. And another huge benefit is like not if, when you make typos and you make mistakes in your stuff that you're giving to your people. We are all human. It's going to happen. And now that I've made these changes to those two hyperlinks, I have another classroom for the mastermind that's happening in April. And if we go down to their monthly checklist and evaluation, it should, fingers crossed, this is going to be the correct document for them. And I didn't have to change anything. I literally just changed it when Shannon told me. She's like, this is wrong. And I was like, it is. Yes. Facts. And then I literally like, this is already fixed. So for the future, you never have to go back in and change this. And um, and look, this is already fixed for them. So that's another huge benefit to using Google. You never have to go back in and change your stuff. Even for my one-on-one clients, now that we fixed that, it's good for everybody. So seriously, like if anybody notices other things, I was confused at what you were saying and I was like, "Oh, this is wrong." I was like, that is why it's confusing. So if anybody notices anything that I can fix and make better for future people, please let me know because it's probably wrong and I can fix it for the future. We can make it better. We'll just continue to improve. So thank you, Jared, for helping with that. Are there any other questions before we just get started in some general coaching? And I didn't see anybody in the Slack or in this here. So I don't have anybody who has messaged me specifically about programs, only Jess, and she's not here. So Tammy, let's get into it. Start with a win also.
There we go. Now I'm unmuted. My win is actually feeling more human this week than last week.
I'm so glad.
Feeling a lot more human.
I feel that on just from the travel and stuff. I'm like, I'm so with you.
Mm.
So what would you like some coaching on?
So for me, it's getting back. I think it's just getting back into the groove. Like I went to sit and create some content, and I'm getting into all the feels of, oh, like I have a girlfriend who went through the same coaching certification program I did, and she coaches on something very similar. So now I'm like, she and I both encourage each other on each other's page, which is really cool. But then I'm like finding elements of comparison and like I got to get better with graphics. I got to like elements of this and that and the other. And like I know that I'm not called to work with the same people that she is. So like there, you know what I mean? Like there's like 8 billion people on the planet, So kind of working through that and working through getting myself back out there to the place where I'm actually booking the, like the resilient life discovery calls and the budget blaster calls. Yeah, because like I'm still selling and offering the 1 hour paid consults for the debt stuff.
Mm.
Um, so I think it's like that, yeah, it's kind of a quick brain dump of where I'm at and just kind of getting back into the saddle again after being sick. And
Yes. And I just want to like offer that you never lost the groove. You always had the groove. And I think when we have this thought, like we need to get back into things
Mhm.
and can create. And I know you didn't say this, but this feeling of being behind.
Mhm.
And when you feel like you're behind, what happens is our brains go into an activated place. And instead of staying in a like regulated problem solving place, it creates just a smidge of stress that just your content probably won't be at its best if
Yeah,
you're like activated in some way.
yeah,
Wait,
that's exactly what I feel like.
just
I put myself in, and it's just like, oh crap, I know it, and
mhm.
also I'm stuck.
Yep. And I think this comes from I think that this was with the one-on-one client, but she was feeling the exact same way. She was really like she took a month off and she was traveling. And so within this, what we noticed is that when you think about things from being behind, I think it comes from work and like traditional career work
Hmm.
and school. Because in traditional careers and in school, we do have a set timeline. There is a very specific result time that you have to have things completed by. So, of course, this is what your brain defaults back to. However, we're seeing that like if we were to play this out, like I need to get back in the groove, that thought that like it I think in the past probably propelled you forward in your academic or career success actually will hold you back in your business success. So what I mean by that, like, does that make sense? Like it's like you have to
Yeah,
completely
it served
switch your
you.
paradigm.
Yeah, like it served you in one season. However, now it's time for the to learn the next up level thought to serve you in the current season going forward.
Yes,
Hmm.
exactly. And so if we're thinking about this, that like this thought, like getting back in the groove in because it's so ingrained in your entire life, this and we will get to like actually like the comparison and things like that, I promise. But one of the things that like getting back in the groove, one of the things that if we don't see, if subconsciously your brain doesn't see that this isn't going to serve you, what's going to happen is it'll just kind of be doing this behind the scenes. And if you think about like the snowball effect, it'll just kind of keep building and building and
It's,
building just behind the scenes creepily until it becomes like an obstacle. So
yeah,
just
that's what it's been doing.
we're snipping it in the bud. We're just gonna get it
Mhm.
right now. So this thought, getting back in the groove, how do you feel when you think that thought?
There's elements of stress, but then like also like realizing, okay, that's old paradigm thinking. And that reminder of you saying that it's like, okay, um, but then it's like, well, financially, like the finances get to come in and I get to, continue having, it'd be great to continue having 5-figure months, um,
Mm-hmm.
and that sort of thing. So like in that, looking at that, okay, so if I'm not really behind, I can't be behind because I'm the boss. I get to dictate how fast or slow I go with something. Um, I think now it's just that focus of, well, the finances and the bills that don't stop coming in and the commitments that I have and the desire for me to continue investing into my business and my family and, all the things. I think that's what I'm up against with looking at that feeling of behind and getting in the groove now is that
I
new.
totally.
Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%. And so the
Okay.
the thing that's tricky now is I
Mhm.
think that you could see it's like we can all see that
Yeah.
with the circumstance. We can see that like, oh yeah, this makes sense. But when there is pressure from finances, what happens a lot of the time is our brains can go to really revert back to our old ways. So let's talk finances really quick.
Sure.
With the 5-figure months, it is great to have those 5-figure months. However, that within, I was like, I think that you could coach yourself to get there in the next 9 days. And within business, it's a wave. And I show you guys my finances for last year? Like how drastically different it was. The other thing that's very important for a traditional career is a consistent paycheck. With business, it's never consistent. And if you
Mhm.
look at it's like it went up, it went down, and overall it accumulated. And I still need to like add these last two. But it's like your revenue is going to go up and down every month. So you might have these awesome 5-figure months and you might not. I had a 5K month last year and I still hit 100 and it was like 159. It ended up being, I need to add a couple of things here. But I think that your brain is so used to, I get a typical 5-figure paycheck. This is what it looks like that it's like, oh my God, I'm not getting the same thing. And here's what I don't want you to do is I know that our brains can be like, oh my God, this something has gone terribly wrong here. Like something is bad. And if that happens, then it's going to again create a back spiral in your business where you're like, I didn't have a
That's
5-figure month and now I need to go back. And I think that could be where I could see you going and just I want to help
Mhm.
you prevent it right now.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Mm.
that's where like, okay, so November 5-figure month, December, I made half of what I made in November by day 7. January uh
Let's get the
was
C's.
like 5,000. And then it's like this month I'm like crawling and it's very and I think that obviously getting sick with COVID in a short, 2 times in a short time span didn't help with that. But then also, you know, like the recovery, and then also like all the side effects of like what you were saying, that downward spiral. And I'm going, okay, stop, stop. I see the spiral. We want to hop off this as quickly as possible.
Okay. So, but our brain is, so when you hear yourself, everybody's going to get into this point. You're going to be stressed about finances at some point in your life, most likely. I'm guessing because we are humans. And this is just a very atypical career. Instead of what you said, I want to stop it right there. We do want to swap it right there. However, this part of your brain is freaking out. It's like the word, and the reason that I heard that is like crawling, the commitments, the bills don't stop coming in. I feel this like stress coming from you. And
Mm-hmm.
I literally, like, I know it sounds crazy, but you guys know I love sharing my life with you. And there was an issue with my partner's career that we were trying to figure out, and he's actually shifting into a different career now. It's definitely a very important thing that needed to happen. Just a very interesting thing that happened, and my brain freaked out. And it was like, "Oh my God. Like what if I'm the sole breadwinner? What does that look like? Oh my God, like this business, this was literally like 3 weeks ago." And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, there is so much stress that I felt. And I had to go here to the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And I think it might be helpful for you. I got to the point where I was like, I will go back to teaching. We won't go to Germany. We will do this. And then I will still keep coaching and I'll build it back up and I'll figure out a way. So I had to like literally go there to get to a good place where now we are absolutely fine. But, and we were, like I'm telling you guys, I had a, I've made 45K in 6 weeks and I
Mm.
still had this thought. Just for frame of reference, it doesn't go away. It still
Mhm.
keeps happening in every facet, and it's okay. Nothing has gone wrong. We just need to like have these tools in our toolbox. So, worst
I
case
appreciate
scenario,
you saying that. And
right, of
it's funny because it's
course.
like I'm thinking too, summer's coming. My little guy's in kindergarten. He goes to public school, and I'm going, oh crap, I have to worry about, you know, summer care and all the things. And yeah. So
Mhm.
like worst case scenario, I have to go to back to work full time someplace to have a like a steady, consistent paycheck, and you know, maybe have a couple coaching clients in the evening times and or weekends or something like that.
Mhm. And
That
I
would be
want you
nice.
to just go there for a second,
Mhm.
and it would be kind of shitty. Would not be fun, probably. Wouldn't We
Yeah.
wouldn't love this.
Mm-mm.
But would we stop?
Stop coaching? No,
Yeah. No. Why?
no, because there are people to help. There are people who like it's been made very clear that there are people who need my style of attack on budget and mindset and that kind of thing. And the
Yeah.
goofy factor that I bring to it, which lightens it up for them to learn.
Literally, like, yes, I feel that from you. And so I want you to think like, okay, so and you could be like, worst case scenario. And for me, I was like, I would have to like inform my coaches that I'm working with. I'd be like, hey, gotta pause. I'm gonna have to put our coaching on pause. This is what's gonna have to happen. And it would not be fun. It would not be ideal. And that's okay. Like I want you to like really be like, this is okay. Nothing has gone wrong. And I also wouldn't stop. I would figure out a way to make this work. I would figure out a way to do these kind of things. And then I would get back into it. Like, I think we all need to go there sometimes and be like, wait, worst case scenario. And then what happens is when you go there, then you become free to go there. Like, then you become free to like actually keep working in your business. Now, do you have, I was like, I know that you probably know your finances. For other people on this call, if you don't know what like the finances are, you might want to figure it, like take a minute and figure it out. I figured out for me solely, I could live on like 2,500 a month. I was like, this is what I need before like different kind of situations would need to happen.
Yeah.
So do you have that number for you of numbers
Yeah, for me, like including like the coaching commitments and things that I have, it's about 2,700 that I would need.
Yeah. Okay. So 2,700. So that is where we're at. We need to, like, this would be the ideal thing. When do you, with savings and credit at your, what I had to do is I like went in and I was like, okay, savings and credit I had access to and loans I had access to. I was like, is there a time when you would like, let's figure out like, okay, we're going to go hard. And then I gave, when I first started my business, I went full time in June or July of 2021. And I said, if I am not bringing in replicating the income I made as a teacher by, it was supposed to be June of 2022, then I would go back to teaching and I would still coach in the evenings. So I like made that agreement with myself ahead of time. I'm like, okay, this is the plan. I'm never going to stop, but I just wanted to give it really my all for this set of time. I
Mhm.
knew that I could live off savings by then. I knew that I could figure things out like with credit and loans, make sure that happened, and then life shift happened and I was broken up with and had to move back in with my parents in March. And that was like not a part of the plan. I had to like shift my commitments and change things up a bit. And it was like, it was an adventure. But I want you to know, like, with the information we have on February 20th, when would be the time when this would be on the table?
My husband and I actually talked about this. So like if by March I'm not consistently making,
The
then
2,700?
yeah. So like technically the end of March, and it's like literally if I were to look like my pay scale, looking at like what you showed me in yours, mine has been a roller coaster, but I've always been able to make like the 2,700. Like if I average everything out, I've always made enough. But I think I go in freak out mode because I'm looking at, oh my gosh, it's mid-month and I'm only at, X amount.
Mhm. And that can be really like, that can be jarring. I want you to let your nervous system know, hey, this is weird and this is normal. This is a part of being an entrepreneur. I promise I'm going to take care of you. I promise financially we're okay. We've got plenty of time. We're safe here. And if things need to shift, they'll shift. But let's give ourselves by the end of March. Does your like subconscious feel safe enough to do that?
Oh yeah. Like
Okay.
I don't think that's the issue. I think that my challenge is like wanting to pay everybody on time and I want it, you know what I mean? And it's just like having to shift and pivot and move things around because
Yeah.
of the line of work I do and the fact that like, hey, you're a financial coach, except why are you having all these problems? Like
Yes.
there's that feeling of out of integrity. However, like it doesn't take away from me being able to walk people through the systems that actually work when you work the system.
Yes. Okay. I have a thought here for you.
Mhm.
So with my like, okay, there are two thoughts I have. The first one is I think that you might be learning how to shift the systems for yourself
Mhm.
because you're meant to teach your clients how to do this. I think that and I think the integrity coming from like wanting to pay people on time and feeling like you have a consistent income and making sure you've got all these things. Like, what if you're supposed to teach people? Your income isn't supposed to be consistent. Sometimes you have to get flexible. Sometimes you have to get scrappy and figure out other ways than the specific system I'm teaching you. What if the reason you're going through this is because you're supposed to teach it? Not because you're out
Yeah,
of integrity, but it's like it's something you need to teach.
yeah, like a preparation kind of thing for me to be able to add to my tool belt to empower people I work with. Yeah, I think I can see that. I think when you say it that way, it makes sense that I would get to experience it first because integrity is a high value, and then I can walk in integrity having gone through it and having navigated it. I think it's just um, learning how to be that entrepreneur. Like you said, like you're never behind, you call the shots. And that was something big for me when I was out sick for as long as I was, talking to my clients, and all of them, thank goodness they were all very understanding and very, "Oh, okay, no problem." kind of thing, but then like really getting it into my, um, I guess my vocabulary or whatever that, yeah, I am the boss. You know, like not an egotistical way, but it's just like, hey, we're doing some schedule shifts here. This is what gets to happen.
Yes. And so we're doing some financial schedule shifts. You had to learn 2 big lessons this month. They were very important lessons to carry you through 2024 and beyond.
Mhm.
That schedule shifts and financial shifts are normal in entrepreneurship. That's the first thing that I think was a big lesson for you. The second thing that I wanted to offer is that with the systems, that's the beauty of it. When you're thinking about walking through the systems yourself, one of the things that I have found is that I've been able to coach people who are at a way better financial situation than I am. Like I just did this whole training for people who are making 900K. But I was like,
Mhm.
but I have figured out something that they have not figured out yet.
Right,
There is
right.
this piece that I know in my system that they need, and people were frantically taking notes. Like, and it was like, so I don't need to necessarily be in the same, like, it doesn't need to be apples to apples. It can
Yeah.
be apples to oranges. I can still give them the juice they need.
Yes. Yeah.
Weird
No, and
analogy.
there's something freeing in that, definitely. Like I don't have to have the results. Like I'm coaching a couple people who are 7-figure earners, and it's just like I'm not coaching them how to make 7 figures. I'm coaching them in a different area that I have specialty in. So like I have piece of it that aligns with me. Um, you know, as long as I'm staying in that lane of the results that I have and being able to pass down the systems and the processes to them.
Yes. And so I think that like from here, we were talking about like the comparison and like really getting into like the worst case scenario. We've done full circle with you, Tammy, today. Within this though, I want you to think about what result you want by and when a lot of times we have to zoom in and zoom out. It's like a constant um growth in our business. I think that you've done a really good job of zooming out to the amount you want to make, the kind of what this year could look like. I want you to zoom into the next 7 days. What result do you want to make by next coaching call?
If I could generate an additional 2,000, so like that's either 4 new admin clients or 1 new budget blaster, um, or even like a part of a resilient, you know, like if someone signed up for the Resilient Life, um,
Yes. What if, okay, so let's say, and if they did Resilient Life, if they paid in full, maybe these 7-figure earners that you are working with, maybe they want a little bit of Resilient Life in there. Who
mhm.
knows? And I know that like we've talked about like coming back to it. Who knows? And they might want to pay you in full. What would you need to think to be like, okay, I'm not in out of a groove. I'm ready. What do you need to think about yourself to make this 2K in the next 7 days?
I have what
Hope you froze. Is everyone else frozen on my end? Oh, I hope my internet didn't go
No,
out.
it's not you.
Okay, I was like, if my internet went out, I'm so sorry. Tammy, come back.
Shoot.
Oh man. Oh, I hope her device didn't die or something. Well, in any event, does anyone else have anything to add for Tammy that I can write down and give to her when she returns?
I was thinking, I love how simply it sounds when she says, yeah, I just need to make $2,000 in the next 7 days. Like she really believes it, which is so cool just to hear like, yeah, I'm just gonna make 2,000 grand. 2,000. There we go. Done.
Right? Would that like such a cool belief? It's like,
It's awesome.
that's
Yeah,
awesome.
I believe her. She's gonna do it.
Really. And I know that she's done it before. So it's like, so I think that she can rely on that. And sometimes we won't have that belief before and we have to like go with it. But I think that like, if she can stay in that energy, I really do think that this is like, it's going to be so awesome for her. And I don't know if she's going to return. So we are gonna, I'm gonna allow, if she comes back in, here she is. Okay. I was like, let's go on. Do a quick switch. Thanks for letting me know, Missy. I was like, wait, Probably my internet. Hey, I was like, did
Okay.
your computer die?
It's like the home internet took a dive, so
No worries.
uh,
I was like, we have a lovely model for you here. Missy mentioned how awesome is it that you are like, yeah, I can make 2K in 7 days. Like, so cool that that is a belief that you have. I'm guessing these admin people, you could probably reach out to them, be like, hey, I want to take some work for the next couple months. Like, you could totally do that. But you said I do have what they need, was your thought.
yeah, I have what people need. I just need to figure out how to better consider. Yeah, I don't know. There's this question of getting it out there to the right people right away so that someone can, hire me on and I can have that income inside of the next 7 days. Right.
So, and also, let's say you do this for freelancing, right? So the you said the admin people.
Yeah, so like my setup is they pay me up front and then I track the hours and they were, like they can tell me how they want to, use the hours if they want me selling for them or customer service or, whatever it is.
Yes. So if you already like you're like this thought like I need to get in front of the right people for this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do if you like had to, you could totally make 2K with this admin that's completely unrelated to anything we've talked about ever.
Yeah.
You could do that right away. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, well, that I'm not so sure on because like the admin
Okay.
stuff more of a setup and then like 10-hour, like fulfillment and stuff like that. So then there'd be like lag hours and stuff. I want to be able to really key in on, Resilient Life or Budget Blaster as my two things, but I'm trying to come up with everything that I could possibly offer and do to get to that
Right.
2000 of 7 days.
And what if it's just consistently offering it every day on your stories, going in and being like, hey, I have this, you want this, let's go. I have this, you want this, let's go. Like every
Yeah.
day I post on here, book a consult, book a consult, book a consult. Fun fact, you could book a consult. Have you heard about consults? They're the shit. Book a consult every single day. I want to see you posting every day. Like, but I want you to think about like how you would need to feel to on your story, even though you're feeling there's funky feels on your story every
Mm.
day being like, hey, this is what I want. I'm offering this. I want you to join. I want you to join. I want you to join. What would you need to
Yeah.
feel?
Um, it would need to feel, I know what I have works. It's not in question. It's not on trial. It will get you the results.
If you're thinking about an emotion, is that
Um,
confident?
yeah, confidence. Yeah, because like it does work.
Be like, I want you on your stories every day. This works. I want you to join Budget Blaster. I have a spot open and I want you to take it. I feel like it's going to be the perfect thing for you. I have 2 spots for Resilient Life. I want you to be in Resilient Life. It's going to be, and I think that like sometimes we can utilize this feeling of pressure to serve you and push you, propel you forward. And I think that's going to be really, really helpful to be like, okay, just in general, learning how to generate 2K in 7 days, awesome skill. I would love to learn how to do this anyways as a business owner. And now I'm just being presented with an opportunity for it.
Mm.
How does that feel? Probably not great. I'm like, it probably doesn't feel awesome. You're probably
Yeah,
not
if it's like push and pressure.
I was like, there was I think a podcast that Stacy did about like the difference between like she's like, I've got a positive hustler within me.
Hmm.
And she was like, I'll share it with you guys. I was like, that was a good one. But it was like how to hustle in a positive way and be like, let's freaking go. Like, I'm motherfucking Tammy and I've got something to say. I want you to buy this shit every single day. Like, I don't know. We're just getting into it. But it's like, you know what I mean? Like for you to be like, I think this is gonna like propel you, and I think you're being presented with this for a reason. And it's like we can choose to do this from a really wonderful place. And I think that having this level of confidence, like I think people are gonna buy. I know people are gonna buy. I know you're gonna make 2K. How does it feel now?
Yeah, I get to sit with it and process it a little bit more,
Sit
I
with
think.
it and process it a little bit, Tammy. I was like, this is a lot, but I want you to just like think about like, let's just get curious. Like, if the pressure isn't feeling great, then we can be like, there are two, there is, there are people. Pressure comes from, I think, the perceived focus on yourself. And if we
Yeah.
can just shift that perspective to like, people need this,
Oh yeah, shift the focus onto what they need instead
focus
of
to
what I,
service
yeah.
instead of self,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
How you see what I'm saying? It's like, let's focus on the other people. It's like, I don't know who you are, but tax season is coming up, and I know that you need to get your budget in order. I know this
Mhm.
is, can be the most triggering time of year for you, and I want to be here to walk you through the whole thing. I want to
Mm.
help you to become resilient this year. 2024 is the last year that you feel this dread around your finances and other aspects of your life. I
Yeah.
want you to feel the freedom that I feel in my life. Join the resilient life.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Better?
Yeah. It feels better when I take the focus off of what I'm needing and just like put it onto how I can serve somebody else and focus on what they need.
Yes. I was talking with a client about this literally like 2 weeks ago too. And it's like, if we can just get into service, even when this is, and I will promise you guys, this is the most funky you'll feel at any point in your business. At this time, in this beginning piece of your business, is the hardest part. I promise that even though I felt really fucking scared 2 weeks ago, I promise it gets better. It is not going to be like this forever. And if you can get into service really quickly, it's going to shift the course of your business for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Of course. I love you, lady.
Mhm.
Missy, start us off with a win. What is going on for you, my lady?
Hello. Let me see if I can, where am I?
Hello.
There I am. Hi, went for a lunch walk. Okay, so my win is that I feel like my capacity is expanding.
Love.
Like what it was just like a super crazy busy couple weeks. And old me would have been like freaking the fuck out. And this week I'm like, hell yeah, I'm just doing it all. And there's something really fun about that. That feels really good.
Love it. This is awesome. It really is expanding your capacity. Give me what you need some coaching on.
So I did a workshop last night. And thank you, Anise and Sharon, for being there. Really appreciate it. And thank you, ladies. Um, so I haven't read or listened to your webinar one yet. So it wasn't in that format. It was kind of my own thing. And I would love to do just like a live eval to kind of talk through it, figure out what to do different next time.
Absolutely love it. Bring it. So I'm just gonna do a really grotesque, like, what was working, what would you like to improve, and what you want to do differently next time. So what worked?
So what worked is it's the third time I've tried to do something like some version of a webinar or workshop. And it's the first time I've actually done an email campaign, which was cool. Like I just last time have just relied on like Eventbrite and whatever they send without actually trying to keep people interested. So that felt good. And now I've got like templates in place for that.
So good.
What else worked? It's the most people I've had. It's the first time I haven't been freaking out too much to take attendance. So I actually
That's
know who showed up, which was helpful.
love it.
Um, yeah, I think I stayed relatively calm throughout all of it. Like even if I was like, ah, fuck, something's going wrong, I managed to just not panic and just regroup. So those are the things that come to mind that worked.
Freaking love it. I'm so, so excited for you. And how many people did you have?
It ebbed and flowed, I think at 1.9. I was hoping for 10. I got 9, which I'll take.
Look at this. And how many people registered?
23.
Who is she? We love
But
this.
two, I think were fake. So actually 21, I think.
All
but
right, all
two,
right. I was
yeah.
like, don't say that like real people are fake though. Like if it was like you
No,
registered.
you know what? That's the funniest thing. Like there were some pretty crazy names, and I was like, "This has got to be a bot." And then they showed up. I'm like,
They're
okay,
actual humans. Oh my
they're
God.
real.
Amazing. Which is
That was a
great.
good lesson.
What kind of things? So are you thinking that you might go in the format of a webinar a month?
Yeah, actually.
Okay. So for the future, let's think about March's webinar. What would you like to improve for March's webinar?
So I think so what it was like a values workshop, and it's stuff I do with my clients. But when I left, I was like, I didn't like my top values are like connection, fun, and growth. And I didn't feel connected or like it was fun because of the format. Like I think it would be really good if it was in person, but it just didn't feel like it worked well virtually. Um, so I would like to have there be less dead air because there's like a lot of time of them thinking and working.
Mhm.
So a lot less dead air is like the number one thing. More fun. Like I told a couple stories, but I told like heavier stories, which is like I think I was trying overcompensating because sometimes I think people are like, oh, you're just a positive life coach. And I was like, no, I've had real life. But then I think it was like a little too heavy. Um, I forgot the initial question. Sorry.
No, it's so good. I was like, so you didn't feel like you were connected or fun. So we have the idea to do differently could be an in-person thing. And then the overcompensated with deep stories. What would you like to improve? What would you like to do differently for the next one?
Like different stories.
Yeah, lay it
Be
out
more,
different
be
stories.
more. Yeah. Yeah.
Lay it out. Maybe some lighter stories
Yeah.
that can be relatable. What
Yep.
you said that there was dead air. So we want less dead air. What do you want instead of the dead air next time?
Um, yeah, I'm kind of torn between more teaching and figuring out ways to have more engagement. I think I'd be fine with either. Um, yeah, I think it depends on what I land on, but either I'd like to more actively teach, and I'll probably shorten it. I did an hour and a half, I'd make it an hour. So it's really probably not as much time to fill as I think if I actually saved more time to pitch at the end. I think I can't remember. I think I had 7 minutes left.
Gotcha.
But I did
So,
land at 8:30 on the dot. I did stick to the time, so that's something that worked.
yay, sticking to the time. To the time. And then the thing do differently. Like, how long do you want to pitch for this 1 hour?
Do you have a recommendation? I
Yes.
mean, I would think
15
even like
minutes.
15 would, yeah, okay, that feels right because
See?
I wanted about twice what I had. Love it.
Love it. Love it. Now, I think it's really cool because two people on this call were actually on the webinar, which was like really cool to like hear your reflection. I wonder if they experienced it like you experienced it. I've had it so many times when I was like, that was horrible. And I've had people come to me afterwards and they're like, this was awesome. And I was like, that is interesting. I am so glad that
Yeah.
you think so. But for you, I'm thinking that like the oh, I had a thought. It's a good thought. There you have the templates for the future. You've got people registered. People actually showed up. The more teaching and figuring out more engagement.
Yeah,
You can either do both or you can try one for the next webinar and something for the other webinar. And then you can just play around
that's
with it
true.
and be like, okay, I'm going to do a teaching webinar in March. And then I'm going to do an engagement webinar in April. And then when you have that like bigger vision, the zoom out version, that gives you so much more flexibility to be like, okay, yeah, we're just going to do this for we're going to do this for longer.
Yeah,
like,
I like that. Because I was kind of, I'd love your thoughts on this. I've been playing with, initially at the beginning of the year, I thought, okay, I'm going to do like a different webinar every month. But then I was like, well, maybe values is going to be like my signature thing. And I just want to get like really good at teaching this concept before I move on to another one. I'd rather go deep, not wide, I think. But I also do have more things I could teach on than just that. So I'm kind of on the fence of switching topics or just like continuing to find different ways to talk about this one.
I think that's an awesome idea. It sounds like you got busy in life, which happens to all of us. There are different times when we do different things. You you could do it again. You could I was talking with my friend Andrea. She's done the same webinar 13 times. 13
Yeah.
times. But she changes the title every single time. So you could just change the title. So it's like there are options here. I would say option 1, do something different, which is what you're saying was your initial plan. Option 2, do the same, just change the title. The third one would be do a hybrid of the two, and you can do different. You can do like maybe this becomes your quarterly webinar and you change the title every time, and then you also have the balance of quarterly and also
Ooh, I like
monthly.
that. Quarterly sounds, I love the idea of like maybe I do 4 a year and I rotate between the 3 or something
I
so that
love
I
it.
get to keep refining because I like refining. I think that is fun, but then would
Yeah,
also still have some variety. That I like that.
let's do it. And but still change. I would recommend change the title.
Yeah.
Um, just because like it could be the exact same webinar and you do the different title, and the people will come and they'll get something different from it.
Yeah.
And like you could
That
even
makes sense.
like literally like I was just looking at my like love your offer webinar, and I'm taking the same beginning and the same end, and I am just changing the colors of the webinar. Same with my emails.
Yeah.
I changed the colors of the webinar. People are like, oh, this is
Easy.
something so new. And I'm like, nope, it's the same stuff that we've always done, and it's fine.
I love it.
So I think that could be really helpful. And just like I think that like that for everybody, that's just like my ideas behind it. But webinar switch ups for the future. Now, the other thing I remember what I was going to tell you is like, yes, the webinar is over, but there are 21 people right now.
Okay.
What are we doing with
Hey,
these
so you'll be
people?
proud of me. You'll be so proud of me. This morning I emailed all of them because
Yes.
this weekend I made a template for a follow-up email because I knew if I didn't have it done ahead of time, it was never going to happen.
Yes.
So I had a separate email for the people that showed up and a separate email for the people that didn't. Tonight I'm going to put them in my lead tracker, except for the people that I think might really be bots. But yeah, so and then they're on my email list going forward. So that feels good.
Amazing.
Anise
And
and
I would,
Sharon, I will take you guys off. I just want you to be part of the initial email so you can see the flow of it.
or it's like we could become again like what we were talking about, like the best brand ambassadors for each other, and we get to know each other's style. It's like you can. I was like, I'm offering Sharon and Anise. I'm like, stay on there, but I'm like, you totally don't have to. But I'm like, I would also recommend creating something to send to everybody on your whole list, potentially not maybe for this one, but for the next one, to be like, hey, this is what happened on a consult call. This is something that I would love to talk to you about. Here are the 5 things that happen. We will go over your goals. We'll talk about the different steps. You'll decide. And by the way, there's like 4 days left to join before you get like a bonus session. Money
Yeah.
back guarantee. I this is like just an example of something that I used to do. You could be like, what is coaching? Do you have questions? Here is a frequently asked questions email. Or it's like this is a post that you could make into an email. You could talk about your program. That could be a nice like one for them to be like, what is this? Especially if you had 7 minutes to sell, whatever you wanted to say in that pitch time, you could do in an email to
Mm-hmm.
everybody.
That's a good point. Okay, I like that.
And I think that that was another thing that the last crew was confused about. They thought that I only sent the after emails to my clients or to the people who registered. And I send that to everybody.
Gotcha.
And so I would recommend
Yeah,
like either like you don't have to do that for this one, but in the future, like giving other people a chance to opt in. Maybe they didn't register, but they would actually really like to work with you, you know?
that makes sense. Yeah, cool.
And it doesn't
I
have to
like
be
it.
a lot, but I love this. I'm so proud of you. I'm like, I think that sounds like an awesome eval. Those are just the couple things that I would add. How are you feeling?
Cool. Great. Yeah, excited. Gonna
Amazing.
see what's next. Thank you. I love it.
Of course. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Sharon, start us off with a win. What is up, lady? Oh, you're muted. Surprise.
I would say I'm consistently following up on leads.
What would you like some coaching on?
Okay, so it was good to go through what Missy went through. She had a great webinar, and it's good to see how other people are doing theirs as well. I have two folds. One, I have some technical questions, and I was going back over the webinar kind of check sheet, and I think what would be helpful is to know, because it's like fill out your blank script, make your slides, presentation, all of those items the month before is what's on your list. But I had a couple of questions in regards to, and they came up too because what I was doing with my Zoom links is I was doing it through Google, and then I just had a recent problem with my client, and for some reason we weren't getting on the same Zoom call. So are you guys, just so I know from a technical side, do you just copy your Zoom link into the email and not do a calendar schedule? Okay.
But
And
I
then
do. So
go
good
ahead.
question. Let me just show you. For
Yes.
mine, I'm cheap and cheerful, and I'm like ready to not spend a bunch. Oh, not Stacy's. Whoops. My bad. Need to get off Stacy's. Sign out. Oh crap. Sorry. Sign out. I when you do guest coaching, it just like gets crazy. But the way it looks for me is I have mine right. It should be, it's going to be on Tuesday. So I have, this is in March. I just do schedule a meeting and then I choose the topic. And then if you look, I didn't even buy the webinars one. I don't have that one. I literally just went in and I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And on Tuesday, the 27th, I have this Zoom link, Love Your Offer webinar. And if you click into here, I literally just made this. I made sure that like their, that the video and participant host was off. And I think I muted participants upon entry. And then I save this. And then I take this link. And in my emails, I go to um like this is gonna be the email that you guys are gonna get on the Sunday. Brain. It was like dates. And I just copy and paste this link here. I paste this link here. And I paste this link here, I think. Oh no, I don't have that there. Is that was your question, right? For how to
No,
schedule?
that's really great. Yes, that's really helpful because I was yeah, copying the link over. So then copying the link over to there, and then you make your, how are you connecting it then with your Google Calendar? Because I was going from
Ah,
Google Calendar to web to Zoom, and then it was linking those together, but then it caused some confusion. I guess that's the best word I
yep.
could. So then, yes, like that.
Then you
And
can
so
just
I
do
think
that.
maybe it's better to start from Zoom and then move over to
Yeah. Because I
to
think that it's
okay.
really good at um yeah, that's what I would do is I would do Zoom to Google
Okay.
just because I know that like it does integrate to Google Classroom, but
Yes,
Google is also a competitor because they have Google Meet. And I'm guessing
yes.
if there are any glitches, that's probably why. So that's
Okay,
why I would say Zoom to Google, like just because I know for sure that's the same link and I
okay.
make sure I get this right. Now, I will
And just
say,
copy that link into the emails and into your um, uh, post. Those, yeah, post.
yep,
Just trying to think.
copy the link. And for the posts, this is for my stories. I put it on here and I don't put the link for the webinar. I put the registration link.
Okay.
So that way, because then, so what I used to do is I would be like, hey, everybody, like, send me a message. And I would go through my entire, first off, don't do this. You remember this, only message 50 people a day. So I had 120 people on my list in May, and I just literally went onto Instagram and I just like spammed 120 people in one day. And your girl got banned for a month, and it was really sad. And then in April, that's when Reels just came out with music on Facebook, and I got banned from Facebook for a month. So that's why I have the little blue check. It was done from necessity and something stupid, but still works out. If you get banned, I will help you to navigate that. It was scary, but you'll be fine. But I would just, instead of copying and pasting that link to all of the people in your network, unless it's through your email, which actually yours probably would be. So I would just email them the registration link. That way they get on your email list instead of having to hand type all of them by hand. It is the most annoying thing. I've been trying to figure out, and I've just hired two VAs, which are they are lovely humans. And I literally specifically hired one because for my Facebook group, I still have to do it all by hand and it's very annoying and I hate it very much. But like, do you know what I mean? Do you understand? I was like, hold on, I'll show you what I mean. So if anyone joins my Facebook group, I don't think anyone joined today. Actually, the VA might be on it. But if I have a pending member and they put their email in, for your LinkedIn group, I have to go in by hand and add them to my audience and make sure that they get emails from me. And it's just annoying. That was a tangent that you didn't need about my frustrations.
Okay.
I was like, that just for the future, I would send them the Zoom link into your email provider
I don't have an email provider, so it'd just be me.
or into Gmail. Yeah, into Gmail. And then I would, okay, so then, yes, so then you would not have a registration link necessarily. You would just add them to a spreadsheet and send them the emails.
Yes, and I did find that Missy used, I think it was Everbright. So I've had some other classes that I've taken with that. So I thought that was interesting of options. So yeah, so it's just figuring that out moving forward.
Yeah, I think that would be, I was like, but for the meantime, Gmail is great.
Mhm.
And you can send messages. And what I do is I do like a blind carbon cop or a BCC.
Mhm.
So I'll be like, where the participants are, I just do BCC.
Okay.
What was the mindset question?
So the mindset question is this. I was just looking at this, especially when Tammy was talking about 7 days. So I would like to bring on. So my form of networking right now, because I'm still growing, I'm still learning social, is in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to several events and I'm following up on leads. My thought process there is I'm looking at what can I do consistently for the next 7 days, let's say, that could bring on one or two new clients.
Sorry, didn't mean to make that face. Did you hear a weird
Oh,
sound?
sorry again. I didn't mute. I have planes that fly over sometimes.
Oh my God, you're totally fine. I was like, I saw that it was like Zoom was granted access, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's me right now. And I was like, but in the case that we're being hacked, I was like, So I was like, yeah, no, that's fine. So you were looking for, you want to follow up on leads, and I got that part, and then I was like panicking. So
Okay, so so for me, since my main form of growing my client list, I mean, growing my clients, getting consults and growing my clients is in-person networking. So I was looking at, okay, yes, I'm going to do this webinar. Yes, I'm going to figure out the technical part of it and all of that. But what can I make sure I'm focusing on, since my main focus is face-to-face and in person?
okay, excellent question. So one of the things that I do, if you're talking to them, and do you have their emails, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what I like to do is I like to, within the in-person networking, I think of them, I think an easier conversation starter is being like, I have this opening. Do you know of anyone who could be interested in this? So the way that I bring it in is I'm like, hey, it's like, here's what I do, here's the things. It's like, I actually have one spot open that I'm like looking to fill this month. And I was wondering if you know of anyone who might need something like this. Like, I would love to, especially if I know you're meeting some other coaches at these networking events and things like that. If you're like, hey, like, I'm looking for, do you know of any corporate people who are looking for this career fulfillment? Do you have any ideas of things? Do you I would make it a collaborative thing versus a and they might be like, "Oh my God, tell me about the career fulfillment roadmap. That sounds amazing. I would really love to do that." Then they can book the consult themselves.
Okay.
But then it's like it becomes like a referral situation and a collaboration experience.
Okay.
So that's my first thought. What is your thought?
What comes to mind there is kind of like taking that approach with almost everybody I know,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
multiple
Totally.
times. Yeah.
Be
Okay.
like, hey, want to let you know I've revamped my coaching. I know that we've talked about coaching, but I created, and this is where I'm like, I really revamped like the career fulfillment roadmap. It's something that's new. It's something I'm thinking about, niece. I'm thinking about you, girl. It's like you've renamed it. So it's like that could be a great opening. And so it's like you can be like, hey, I want to let you know I'm like doing this new thing. Do you know of anyone who might be want to be interested? That someone who might want to book a consult. It's like just something to get your foot in the door would be huge. So that's like my first idea is like use them all of your connections for referrals and do this with everybody, you know. I would say any connection. This is where I think people get like, I actually think I did this at the beginning of my business. I think I messaged people and I was like, hey, do you guys know of any kids I could coach? Like, do you have any, like, I was like, I don't know if you've had any babysitting opportunities. I don't know if you've like done things like that because I was doing kids coaching at the time. And that's how I got a bunch of adults. So that could be huge and be like, hey, do you know of anybody who could use this? Like we can do like a free consult call to see if like this is actually something they need, but like this would be great. The amount of people who need career coaching right now is ridiculous. I think that'd be awesome. The other thing I wanted to offer is that ask about collaborations as like the follow up and meet. They're like, oh no, I don't know of anyone, but I'll keep you in mind. Be like, that's totally fine. And I was like, I also just did it's like I've also been doing some presentations. If you know of any if you know of any companies where I could do a webinar, like please let me know. You it's like you've got people that could use the company's funds to pay for your coaching. Like every corporate, they put aside money for training and education. And that's how I was like, I think 5 of my clients paid for coaching when I was a career coach. And 2 I did for their companies. I like came in and I was like, hey, I'm Megan. Let me talk about time management. It's really cool. It's great. Also, if you want to learn more, sign up for a consult here. I got in front of them, talked about their and I sent a proposal. I was like, I sent them my W-9. I think I have that here. Um, my contracts, the W-9 here. I have this in the material so you can see like if you need this for a tax deduction, this is mine. And you can fill this out for them, be like, hey, like the company would pay for it. Like start to do things like that. I have another leadership coach that I worked with last year, and that's what he did with everybody. And he did a ton of those networking events. He loved doing the in-person thing. And he has got gigs and just started getting gigs after gigs and then started talking with the higher ups about how he could work with them. And that's how he got his clients. What's coming up for you? I was like, one person I'm like, I know could bring, you could help for sure. I've seen the back end. It looks incredible for your business. What comes up for you here?
I think that's an intriguing way to go about this. I haven't been familiar, like in corporate America that I've seen, I haven't seen where they'll pay for that type of coaching, but we'll
Oh yeah.
out.
Especially, oh, like literally, especially if they are another angle you could go with is if they're doing offboarding and they're like, hey, we just had they could offer you as a part of their like package. It's like if for some reason we have to offboard you, you will get sessions with our amazing career coach Sharon, and she will help you to find another job or something like that. Career fairs would be big for you. I don't know if you've been to a career fair, but putting up a booth there. These are just some like off the cuff like ideas I have for you. And I think the reason it's a lot easier for like uh, just experience, and also like I think it could be cool to brainstorm those kind of things. But like most people, actually it's shifting, but a lot of people have a traditional career. And what you can do for the collaboration, you can also talk to HR. You can go on LinkedIn and find anyone who is in HR, talk to them. You could talk with recruiters. You could talk with, and then for the booth and career fair, just find the people who are there and you could set up something in person. These are all in person ideas.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I was like, that wasn't really a mindset question, but I was like, I love these brainstorming ideas. Like, do you feel good about that? Do you feel like,
I think that's good. I think it's just I I need to get more curious and more in that possibility and create more items like that, like what we just talked about. So it's good.
yes. And I was like, where do you live again?
Kansas.
Kansas career fairs. I just want to give you a starting place.
Mhm.
Indeed, you could be like the keynote speaker if they've got like different like hiring events, those kind of things. Like you could join in those, and I think that could be really like just awesome positioning and brand awareness. If they don't maybe work with you personally, they might know somebody who could use you, you know? But I would just get yourself out there. Like I think just meeting is you've already met as many people as you can, but doing the presentations, collaborations, referrals, like so good. If you want help planning a presentation or something like that, or writing, like if you want to. And I remember I was talking with you and Anise about like, and I don't think I gave the format of like the eval, like what's working, what would I like to improve, and what do I want to do differently. I remember you wanted me to look over your presentation, and I would love to take a look at it. Feel free to put it in there. Tell me what you're thinking if you end up doing one. And or if you want me to look over emails that you're sending to people on LinkedIn, the best place to go is through people you know, but you can always go through other outlets too.
Okay. Thank you.
Of course. I was like, thank you. I was like, I think this is very helpful for everybody. I was like, this is because it just kind of like opens you up to like new ideas and things like that. So great, great question. And Denise, if you have any follow-ups, Slack or not Slack me, put them in the stream. Start with a win and let's see what's going on for you.
Yeah, my win was I rewrote my LinkedIn and my website today. with the new direction I'm going, the kind of the leadership coaching rather than the business life coaching. And what was really nice to see is I actually haven't pivoted that much.
I know. I was like,
I mean,
'cause you-
actually, it's quite comforting to see that I'm not feeling like I'm sort of a oh shiny new toy, oh shiny new toy type mentality. I'm actually recognizing that there's 4 things in my life that I feel really strongly about, which is, you know, communication, relationships, stress and burnout, prioritization, and you know, making decisions. And all of those things keep coming up again and again all for the last, you know, ever since I started coaching. So it was good to see that and how I can use that with leadership as well, which is great.
so good.
The other
And
one I had was Sharon and I had a really good convo last Friday, and I was absolutely losing the plot. And the time difference doesn't always help on a Friday evening. She was like midday, and I was kind of like basically falling out of my own chair. But I was making life really hard for myself and making it way too complex. And we just refined it and got it really, yeah, making my pillars really straightforward and conversational.
I looked back at him and I was like, yes, this is like,
Yeah, thank you.
this is
Yeah,
you.
yes, exactly, exactly.
It's just gonna
So
keep
my
refining. It's never gonna be
yes,
perfect, but at least it's there and it's good. I promise.
yeah, no, it felt really good. And so I did that. So that's been really good, just like checking my pillars and then every day looking in on them. Every day, that's part of my schedule, is looking in on my pillars, um, looking in on my offer, you know, reminding myself, which has been really good. So that's been really good. So I felt like I've settled again. I know I said that last week, but I definitely feel like I've settled more. And what I wanted, but basically what's happened is I've not done my webinar. It's been on my to-do list, and I keep saying I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I think because I've been so spiraling, it hasn't really felt ready. So all I really wanted, I know everyone's been speaking at webinars today. All I really wanted was to make myself accountable and have you coach me through this. I know it's stuff that I can look on the presentation, but just to kind of say, right, this is what I'm going to do between now and next week.
Yes.
You know, I keep writing in my to-do list, write the script, but actually just really
Do you
kind
have
of
a
go.
script?
I do. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So
And
take
we can
that.
talk through it. That's fine. I'm very happy to go on that basis. It's just that I know if I do it tomorrow by myself, I might just it'd be easy if I just spend like 10 minutes with you probably.
Let's freaking go. Okay, so what is the name of the webinar? When are you doing the webinar?
Well, it's supposed to be this week, but it's not happening. So I think
Let's do
okay.
it maybe Monday, Tuesday.
No, I've got it in the diary for next. When have I got it? When have I got it? When have I got it? An East webinar next Wednesday.
Okay, so you're gonna do it on the 28th.
Yeah.
I love this. What would be awesome for
Webinar is going to be on. Okay. How is stress causing you to procrastinate? There you go. Something along those lines. Basically
awesome.
bringing in those 2 things.
And
Yeah.
let's like make it like, so this is just literally from experience, the learned skill of the thinking about saying things in a way that's really compelling for people. And one of the things that also like you can do this for companies and things like that. But one of the things that the reason why I told Sharon to ask for a referral versus a direct, do you want to work with me? Is we want to think about like the human psychology of motivation. So we want to motivate people to take action. And so for that, it's a lot easier to take action on like helping somebody out. It creates a level of vulnerability versus just talking to people like right away. The other psychological piece of that is if we're thinking about the people here, they want to stop procrastinating and for 3 reasons: time, money, and energy. So if we could say that like something about the opposite or desired result in the title, that I think is going to be really compelling and will compel people to take action. So procrastinate, the opposite is productive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why aren't they being more productive? And maybe we can make it something like procrastination to productivity.
Mm-hmm. I'm very aware that this is probably what what Sharon's been working on as well, because her and I have
Is
been
it really?
yeah, we've been working on her webinar as well. But
And why do
my
they need to be like, it's like, do they want to get a promotion? Do they want to?
just the reason why last time we spoke, we were going to do mixed decision making and stress was because that was in the middle of my
I forgot what your pillars were.
yeah, in my reels. So we just look at my marketing schedule. What's happening next week? Next week is so it's actually about mindset. It's being growth mindset.
The
That's
stress
okay.
and
'Cause
burnout.
this week's all about so last week I think I don't know if you saw that, but I did my newsletter was on about toxic resilience and burnout. That was my newsletter, which I started putting on reels. This week there's going to be a newsletter, same thing, on decision making. So next week is about mindset, growth mindset. But
Which pillar is that one? The
yeah, this is my one that I kind of put in. Next month I'm going to take it out. So that was my dodgy fourth one. Yeah, which
okay.
I've
I
now
was like,
oh
well,
love
why don't we just like
oh,
change?
no wait, I shared you the new one. Sorry, love. Look at the new one I shared you. That's old. That's the one that spun
Done.
me out.
Here?
So I shared it with it's called Story Pillars. I can put it up on my screen if you want.
I was like, here.
No,
It was like,
no.
just
Go to
where did you share it?
I
Was it?
put shared with me.
Yeah. Yep. Not started. Shared.
Go to share with me on the left.
Mhm.
No. Okay. I'll tell you what. I'll do it again. Or I'll tell you what, I'll just share on my screen if you want, if it's easier.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Mine's up here, ready.
Sweet.
Let's just do that. Yeah, it's a lot nicer. So
Love
so
it.
yeah, decision. So basically what I'm looking at now is these two sides of, like, you think about yin and yang. So listening to a couple stop, Anise. So the yin and the yang, one is the organizational skills and the other one is the sort of softer emotional social skills, and both of those create this wonderful sphere of competence. And that's where the blue is your harder skills, your decision making and your time management, and then the softer ones are the people skills and the stress and burnout.
Gotcha. Okay, love. Send this to me
Right.
for sure. What I'm thinking for you
Yeah.
is
Thanks, Sharon.
which of the pillars is the stress to procrastinate? Is it going to be the resilience protocol? It sounds like it's a mix between resilience, time management, and decision making all in one. So which one do you want this one to be about? And guess what? Next month you might do another one where it's about a different topic.
Well, do you know what? I tell you what, because I did loads of work for the newsletter and I really enjoyed talking about stress and burnout, why don't I just do that? I like what you said to Missy about just keep on, have one thing that you just talk about for a bit.
Yes.
It's not a bad
And like,
thing.
let's just talk about, okay, so why
Yeah.
what is stress? What is their negative result, the opportunity cost of stress?
What is it costing you to be so stressed? Yeah.
Financially, energetically.
Do you know how much stress is costing you?
Right. What
Yeah.
is it? What is it for them? What is stress costing them?
Yeah. Okay.
No, so like what kind of things is it costing them? Like, is it the
Yeah, well,
time piece?
it's costing them. So what's stress? It's costing them energy because they're just frittering away energy. It's costing them time because they're not actually really laser focused, and actually in that, and it's costing them, they're losing time with their family because they're not really there, because they can't shut down. Burnout, which is about that, disengagement. They can't, the most recent definition, they cannot disengage from work. So they're losing out on friendships, relationships, health.
Okay.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
a lot more.
Valentine's. So it's like, so what I like to do is like themes. And if you think about the month of February, relationships, it's like,
Valentine's? Just
I think that like you still talk about stress, but you
Mhm.
bring it, like I was saying to Missy, it could
Nice.
be the exact same thing, but you want to hit on the topic of work-life balance and burnout.
Mhm.
And I would say that like you could tie in relationships, have the
Mhm.
same type or have the same presentation
Yeah.
and talk about it in just a slightly different flavor every time. So let's
Yeah.
talk about like how
Mhm.
to rebuilding maybe they don't want to rebuild. It's like maybe. It's like what do you think would be really compelling that they would list that you would say, I'm doing this webinar
Mhm.
and everyone would come. Like what is something that you may not everyone, but like think about like something that people will be like, oh my God, I need this webinar.
So right now, England, crappy weather, everyone's just looking forward to the summer holiday, right? So they're looking forward and they're feeling grumpy. This is like the worst month for them.
Okay.
It's not spring yet, and it's bloody
Yeah.
cold, dark still. What would they, so they're feeling, yeah,
Maybe check out
stressed,
relationship. So it's like they're feeling stressed.
broke, um, grumpy, and looking forward to a holiday.
Okay.
Um,
So it's like that's where I'm thinking like how can we say this in a way that it's like that they
you said, what do they want? Yeah, that was your question.
yeah, it's like how can we like pivot this like and then also like okay, so like that's one way to think about it. Pivoting to
Mhm.
a completely different perspective is what is something that you feel like companies would pay you to give to their people? What is
Mm.
something that they know is like they're struggling with because they're so stressed
Mhm.
that they would be like, oh, they need this right now. Like it's like,
Mm.
and they could see value in too.
Yeah. Well, okay, what's coming to mind is like how to um basically time management, how to manage your time to give you more joy,
Your time,
less stress,
give.
more impact.
There we go. Like, now that could be a super long title, and I love that. And so I think the words that I'm hearing are now this we're shifting away from stress a little bit. Are you okay with that?
Mm.
I was like, it's interesting because I was like, we could still make the stress something that
Mm.
like the less stress success plan or something like that. Like something like that. Do you see how it's like because it was
Mhm.
interesting because your brain went to in order for it to be valuable for a company that there might um we need to talk about
Mm.
time or something like that. Whereas I'm thinking we could still talk about stress and still have this be something that a company would take you
Mm.
up on.
Yeah, they do like well-being. That's true.
They do love well-being. They love stress. It's like
Yes.
the work-life balance, or it's like I did one called Take Back Your Time that was all about
Mhm.
work-life balance. Take it,
Mhm.
go with it. It was like work-life balance.
Mm.
Because when you are a more balanced workers, more
Mm.
productive and get shit done.
Yeah, and bye, Tammy. Um, but
Bye.
but yes, and that brings in that can the thing is they are also interconnected, aren't they? So I can bring in the stress there as well if I wanted to.
Eggs. Well, Take Back Your Time is all about stress. It's
Yeah.
like you're not planning for like, well, it's time and stress. It's like kind of
It's
both.
so connected. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is connected. I see that. But it's like, so we can move this here. But it's like,
Time. Um,
I actually did this for a networking group.
mhm. I could also have something that's, similar thing, about energy. So,
Hmm.
something like, feel 10 years younger.
It's like 3 steps
Yeah,
to re-energize your your
your
life.
life. Yeah.
I was gonna say career founder. I was like trying to like link it back to like,
No, it's fine. It's fine.
but it's like I think that I really do like that we're branching out because I
Mm,
think that the I think you're seeing more opportunities now.
mm,
I was like that's
mm,
what I'm hearing is like we sometimes niching can be really really helpful
mm,
if it floods you with ideas. Other
mm,
things when you niche sometimes it's like it makes you feel trapped a
mm,
little. And
mm,
I've never heard you coming up with this many ideas. And I
mm,
don't know, like I'm really, and so I think that's a sign.
mm, mm,
Everybody, just so you know, if you are on the right track, is if you
mm,
are starting to feel better when you make
mm.
a change, it's probably a good change to keep in
Yeah,
mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like, so it's like, this is probably the right move for you. I'm so glad that we released the reins and we're like, yes, we're going for
Yeah,
it.
yeah. But
And
I'm just this is not a bad way for me to start actually, is kind of think about start what maybe just come up with maybe just one step. Maybe I shouldn't put too much pressure on myself and say, actually, Anise, do a webinar because I'm doing a workshop but completely unrelated to work next on the 3rd of March. So I know I have to get that done. It's called Does Your Attitude Get in the Way of the Pursuit of Joy? I mean, it's totally like, it's a really lovely thing I'm doing. So in a way, I've got that. I want to make sure that's live and that's in front of lots of people. So I want to make sure that works beautifully. So maybe what I should say to myself is by the next time next week, yeah, which also I could use for something else. Maybe this time next week, my accountability to this group is to say, I'm going to come with 10, and it's a bit like your deconstruction of your pillars, 10 titles, 10 headlines for a webinar for each of my pillars.
I love that idea. And I want you to actually, you said you wanted to do this webinar on 2/28. Do you want to
Yeah.
just do this webinar, change the name? Do you want to do that webinar, keep it the same name? Who are you doing this webinar for?
No,
And
no,
or
no.
do you
So,
want to do
so
something?
no, the pursuit of joy is for like no, it's not work related. So I did try and think how could I do it for work, but I think it's too highfalutin. But what I'm saying is I don't want to put too much pressure on myself because I know what I'm like. I can I can way too much. So, but what I think if I could come back next week and have 10 titles for webinars, it will release this whatever blockage is in the way. And then I think ideas will start flowing through me. And then I think I'll be able to do it once a month. I think that will.
Denise, you already have a webinar that you're already doing the week after. I know that you think it might be highfalutin. I know you might think it's for this organization, but you like this stuff.
No, it's true.
Why are we
Yeah.
trying to do something different than
Mhm.
what you like? What if there are people who are corporate that want something like this?
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
what if we call it, you could call it the exact same damn thing. Yes,
Oh,
shared was who doesn't want more joy, right? And we
Okay.
could add
Okay.
like you could, do
I
you
like
like the
it.
name? Do you want to keep, do I like
I'll tell
do
you
you
what
want
I
to do
say.
something like a little like, we could make it a little bit more like, okay, so they pursue, it's like um we can make it like a little bit more like, what did they get when they, or like, tell me more about attitude, and I can like give you some ideas there. But I think you should just keep the damn webinar, do it
It's
for your
it,
people. It's gonna be great for them,
no, that's so true.
you
It's
know.
called the name of the thing I'm doing is called "Does Our Attitude Serve Us in Our Pursuit for Joy?"
Okay, serve us, and why doesn't it serve us? Give me that.
Oh, so why it sometimes doesn't? Well, it can get in the way because so we want joy. Everybody says, yeah, I want joy, I want joy. But the attitude that we then take into our lives, which can be, we don't know, it might be slightly biased, it might be bigoted, it might be, in England, it's like, oh no, we shouldn't have refugees in this country, which basically then gets in the way of us feeling joy and connection with every single person we meet. Right? So that's
Okay.
what I mean. So, and then it's about like, how does opinion and how does attitude, how are those two different? How, which one comes first?
Love
And
this for
then,
you.
yeah, how is your joy related to your attitude? What does joy mean to you? I'm just looking at all the questions I've got to answer. Why do we need an attitude? So there's lots of
Okay,
things, and I'm doing all of this work tomorrow. No,
but
Thursday, but
so
it's
what
for the
you
following.
think about this though, okay, so
Right.
it's like how to bring more, like it's like you're teaching them, these are the things that are stopping you from bringing more joy into your life,
Mhm.
how to bring more joy into your life, learn your attitudes, your opinions, and this. And it's like that could be
Mhm.
like same thing, you can do the same
Um,
topic, and you're
mhm.
just teaching them like how to bring more joy.
Mhm.
It's like how to bring more joy into your life.
Mm.
Examine your, it's like the
Mm.
3 steps that I will teach you are to examine
Mm.
your opinions,
Mm.
attitudes, and choose intentionally.
And you know what
That
you've just
kind of,
done for me? Is
what?
you know what I keep saying to myself is that I'm trying to bring all of me into my work. That's why I've kind of gone for intentional growth, which is my thing. Is like, and yet again, I'm doing this. No, 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 no. This is me over here doing her little weird and wonderful, joyful
I
thing.
know.
I know, and you're like, no, and he's because actually, how am I going to get my USP out there? Leadership coaches, they're like, two for a penny, as with all of us coaching. And even on my website, I'm saying I'm all about self-development, and yet I'm not willing to step into this. And this is, you have just shown me that just bring it, just be me and bring it, and bring those two, like the two halves I keep talking about in my business. It's about me as well.
Yes. It's like,
Love
and
it.
in like
Mm.
this is what they want. I want to add to you.
Mm.
They want both of me. They
Mm.
want the energetic side of me, and they
Mm.
want the like other side of you that you're showing maybe on social. They
Mhm.
want both. This is something
Mm.
that people really, really want. And
Mm.
I want to bring this for them. How does it
Mm.
feel when you think that?
I do, it makes me feel really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, really kind of holistic.
Mhm.
Mm. Mm. That's good. Thank you. I'm glad I
It's
told you I
like,
was doing it now.
I'm so glad you did too. And so I want you to think about like from this happy holistic place,
Yeah.
like how many people, let's think about how cool it would be to bring some people in this week.
Yeah.
How many people would you want to register for how to bring more joy into your life, or does their attitude service in the whatever you want to call it, if you want to call it something else, I just want you to choose something and tell people, because
Yeah.
it's like, you know what I mean, it's like 7 days from now, it's like we should probably like tell people and be like, hey, you can come. Like, this is awesome, we would love to have you. What would you want to for what would be a cool amount to register,
Uh, well,
and think
let's
about
say
them?
20. Let's say 20. Yeah, let's say 20 because I can probably get all my friends to come along.
Exactly. And you can be like, it's like, who doesn't want more joy in their life?
Yeah,
Literally, like Sharon was like,
I
we
know.
all need an attitude adjustment, how to bring more joy into, ooh, and we can incorporate a little bit of work-life balance. And yes, they do want all of you for sure. I'm just copying this because it's another great webinar title, Sharon. I'm like, um, love these for the future. Other ideas. Um, I like
Mhm.
this one too. I was like, we can rally with this one. I think it's awesome. How to bring more joy into your work and life. Love. It's like, see, and this is the power of bringing the brains together. You guys are
It's so
geniuses.
good.
How many people would you like to come live? And what
Oh,
time are we going to do this on 228?
oh, what did I put in my diary? Do you know, I set my bloody alarm to go to Missy's thing last night because it was midnight. So I went to bed at 10 and I set my alarm for like 12 o'clock and I was like, I had her there. She's like, Anise, did I see you? I was like, oh God, I was in my bed.
You're like,
Just
no longer.
no video, no video. Oh, it was so sweet. She was so good. She was so good. I'm gonna do 6 o'clock. You guys think 7 though, don't you, in America?
Oh my goodness, do 6 o'clock. People will still come. I promise.
No, 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 no. I don't necessarily mean for you guys, but well, it's 1 o'clock anyway for you guys. 6 o'clock, because at the same time as I start, you started at 1 o'clock today, didn't
Yes.
you?
Yes.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
now it's 3 o'clock.
yeah, yeah.
What time zone are you in?
GMT, but we're GMT. So
In-
when we
yeah,
start the
1.
mastermind at 1 o'clock, is that yeah? Oh my God, I'm doing it. Oh my God.
I know. I was like,
Okay.
it's happening.
Oh,
So how many
yeah.
people do you want to come live?
Yeah, let's just say 10. Come on, let's say
Let's just say
10.
10. Like, wouldn't that be
50%.
fun? And how many consults? Like, just think about like all the people who need more joy in their life. How cool would
Mm,
it be if they book some consults and learn from the
yeah,
best?
that'd be good.
How many people would you like to book a
But
consult from
let's say 2. Let's say 2.
2.
Yeah.
And how many clients?
Oh, well, let's say one of them signs.
Wouldn't that be cool? Like, and
That'd be
so this
amazing.
is where we can get into the CEO mindset. It's like, if this is our goal, what we
Mm.
do is we just take these goals and then we take the A line and we think about what do you think is going to take for that amount of people to come? What do you want to do before 6 p.m. on Wednesday?
Well, I'm doing my thing tomorrow, Thursday. So I'm doing my script and webinar anyway on Thursday. So that's already in the diary.
And I also, for the diary, for that day, I want you
Yeah.
to picture 20 people
Oh, yeah.
registering for it, that they're like, oh my gosh, yes. And like have that intention behind the action is awesome.
Okay.
Like all those things. What else would
What
you
I-
need to do?
Yeah, so what I'll also, once I kind of get the script and the webinar, know it's kind of in me, embedded, then on the afternoon of Thursday, I will post about it. Exactly. And
No,
I'll do
post
it.
about it today. You could post about it before you have the script. I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea what this webinar is about, but it's going to be the best. Like I'm doing it on Tuesday. It's going to be awesome. For the Love Your Offer, it's going to be a mix of what I teach you guys, and it's going to be something completely new. And I keep thinking about it. And I was talking with my friend Olivia, and she's like, people get in their head about this. And she's like, I announce my webinar a month in advance, and I write the script the day of. And I was like, yeah. I was like, awesome.
Okay.
I
At
was
least
like,
it's
so
fresh.
yeah, it's fresh. And she was like, it's the way I work best. And I was like, perfect. She's like, whatever I
Yeah.
write is going to be awesome. Totally different self-concept shift. So why don't we post about it today?
No, not today. I'll do it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, because it's late for you. I was like, tomorrow. I was like, post about it tomorrow. Thank you for staying up so late. I love you so much. Post about it tomorrow. Make a link and post about it in your stories every day.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, let's not make this too hard. So I'll just do it your way, which is follow your protocols of how you get I'll just go through your data of like the link and
Didn't you do a webinar already? Do you have templates yet?
no.
Well,
No.
we're gonna make some templates.
Yes, I've got to do that. Yes. Yes, that's good. And I'll probably just use the same branding for my yeah, I use the same branding because I really like my dark blue and my purple and my cream. It's really me.
It's
Um,
you.
you know, I usually wear navy. So yeah, I can use the same. I like that. I like the same things. And then, so when you say link to what? To register.
Oh, to register. Yeah.
So
Do
that
you
goes
have
on.
a email system?
I got my Gmail. Oh no,
Yeah.
I've got another one as well. I've got another one as well. Yes,
What's
I
that
do have.
called?
Oh God, it's called Client Funnels, which I bought 2 years
Okay.
ago.
Oh,
Awesome amounts of
okay.
money.
I
But
was like,
they do, yeah.
I think there's a
I
way you can do registration required. Sharon, I'm glad you're still here for this. You can do registration required. And let's say I do this meeting. I think it'll give you a registration link here.
uh-huh.
So you can get people to register through Zoom and
Okay.
it'll give you your personal contacts here.
And then I can just
So,
import them into, yeah.
yep.
Oh, that's cool. I'll do that, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me look at my diaries. So I'm not going to do Eventbrite because that just looks too like another thing to think about.
Nope. Just do Google. Like I would recommend highly.
Mhm.
Just given the literally like today, I
Yes.
needed to change my presentation. I was like, whoops,
Yeah.
doing that, switching things around. I would recommend Google Presentations, Google Slides,
I like Google Slides.
and I would recommend, yeah, just make some Google Slides. 45 minutes
Yeah,
of
worth it.
teaching,
Yeah.
15 minutes of pitching.
Okay. Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
use it for the same one. You can just like make a copy of it and be like changing the
Yeah.
title.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. And actually, yeah, the more just thinking about if I could throw in joy into my thing, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw joy.
Why don't we just think that joy is a part of the pillars that you have? What if joy
Yes.
is the thing that brings all of it together?
Yes. Forget about the joy. Yeah. Intentional leadership, which is the joy. Yeah. Joy. I like the word joy. I think Sharon and I were talking about
I
joy
do
the other
too.
day.
I was like, I literally like wanted to change mine to like joyful business and
Yeah.
like fulfillment was my an original one. I was like, because I feel like if once you got the systems, your business is way more joyful.
Yeah.
But I used to went with systems because it was simple and searchable.
Yeah. No. Joy is good though. Joy is good. Thank you, love. That's really yes, you stopped me doing more work, which is good. I need people in my life to make less work.
I love this. I love this. And I think Sharon had an idea for you, or she's raising her hand for something else. But I feel like this is you.
Mhm.
And I think that like this is the tricky part, bringing you into the world.
Mm,
It's of
mm,
course you're putting two different fronts up because then if there's any rejection, but failing
mm.
or abandonment, then it's like, oh, it's okay, but it wasn't all of me. But I think
Yes.
that like bringing all of you to your business is
Yeah.
gonna be the magic that like literally just sends you.
Yes. Yeah. And you're not, yeah. And this is a message I keep hearing from the universe. So it's just like, and he's just get out.
Maybe it's there for a reason. Maybe.
Oh my God. It's so
Oh,
funny, isn't it? Cool.
I know
Thank you,
it.
love. That's really helpful. Really,
Of
really helpful.
course. Sharon, do you have something to add?
Mm.
I just had a question. When you went over Zoom
Yes.
and you can do the webinar through that and you said schedule it and then register, is that with the higher, because I just have the basic business Zoom that I paid for. Do you have to like,
It's not the webinar one. Let me see which plan I have.
okay, so it's not where you have to buy the webinar one because it says you can do a 30-minute webinar. So just with the basic business one, I could do webinars, right?
It's called Zoom One Pro.
Okay.
I
I'll
it's,
double check.
it's
I don't,
150 a year.
I just remember it was the first tier one.
I think that's what this is. I
Okay.
think that he's gonna, or yeah, edit plan. Let me see.
Yes, I'm also the first tier. And yeah, and I can also, I'm just looking at it now. I can also registration required.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
go in there and dig in that. I did notice when I clicked on webinars on Zoom, it said you had to pay an additional. I was like, no, I don't want to pay anymore. I just bought the free.
No, I was like, yeah, look, I was like,
Okay.
absolutely not. You could host a 30-minute one. Don't feel like that is long enough. But I would add, I was gonna say something else. I thought, This is the one that I have is just so that my meetings could be longer than 40 minutes.
Mm,
Yes, I have
That's
that
the one
one.
you have, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I think it's the
Yeah.
same. I think we have the
Yeah.
same one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Google Slides. I've already created mine in PowerPoint.
mhm.
Do you
Keep it. Keep it.
Okay, because I wouldn't think there would be any problems with that. And now that we've gone over all these titles, I'm thinking, trying to figure out how to. I typically write
Oh, sorry. I started clicking around to a bunch of different places.
mine
Could you
and then I
repeat
come
that?
back and title it, but I've changed the title.
I'm so sorry, Sharon. I started clicking around
Uh,
and then my computer is going super slow.
No, that's okay. I typically write mine and then I go back and title. I mean, I started off with the title, but then I've written it and I just see if it helps. I do speeches like that too, but now I've changed my title a couple times, but this was helpful. So that's something that I'll send you the presentation and then I'd like to go over with you as well too. So
Absolutely. And like, please use me as like literally use me as a resource. You guys have me. Just give me like a quick eval because it's like I had someone send me, it was like, I'm not kidding. It was like a 72-page document of all of her email. This is for a client who's launching like, but it was like something that her VA made and it was 72 pages. I kid you not. And she was like, "Can you just like look over this and like let me know what you think?" And I was like, "So we're gonna create a protocol around this." And I was like, "Give me your eval first and I will give you any feedback you want." But I was like, what am I looking for? I was like, in 72 pages. And I was like, so I just need to like give you a clarifying qualifier. Another client asked me to look over a 222-page slide deck. And I was like, that is a lot of slides. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I was like, so if you could tell me what I'm looking for, I can look for it, but just tell me what you want me to look for. And then I got you.
so that's a really good point. So with that, mine's not that mine's not that long, but
I
with that
figured.
said, what's the best thing to what when you say give it eval, like basically ask you,
I'll put it in the
are
slot
you
in
are
the
you
stream.
okay?
What's working, what you would like, what do you feel like you could see as an area of improvement that you want me to be on the lookout for?
Okay.
And what are you thinking you're gonna do differently already when you're sending it to me? And then be like, what would you like to me to look for? Essentially, is like that's what I really like want to see. First off, I think it helps like you as a CEO, but any evals, like evaluate it first from your perspective. I think it's
I
just helpful. And then
believe me,
what's
I have multiple times.
yeah, I'm
which,
sure. Like
which is why I need to pass it along.
what could use improvement slash feedback? What do you want feedback on? Want feedback on instead of just like, could you take a look at this? That would be just something like specific that I can like look for would be so helpful. Because sometimes I'm like, maybe this, and they're like, oh, I didn't want feedback. And I'm like, well, I just looked through a lot of things for you. And
You
I was
just
like,
need
so
you
like
need a guide, kind of like what,
just
yeah.
what am I looking for? And
Okay.
like, what are you thinking of doing differently in the future would be helpful. And also like if you could, I'm gonna add to here, if it's something that like you have like I'm gonna put do differently, it's like what specific audience and like add audience just so I know. So I'm like, what is their audience? Like who are they actually talking to here? That's going to help me audience and purpose. And like purpose. Usually it'll be to sign clients, but like just in the case that like you're doing it for a corporation and the purpose is to let me try and think of what a purpose even would be. Like they're probably going to all be assigned clients. So just like add the audience that you want to
So
look for.
like Anise is doing it to bring more joy to the corporate team
Mm-hmm.
or to one of her clients' work teams or something like that.
Yeah. So like just be like, it's like this is from this perspective, but I could use some help with like translating this to like for do differently. Like I need some help translating this to um I need help translating this to corporations. Like I did this for this networking group and I'd like to do this. Also,
Okay.
you've got another thing I thought about for you, Sharon, is networking. The networking groups you always go to. Ask if you can do a presentation for them. Have you done that yet?
No, there's one that I'm looking at. I'm going to ask her. I will just, yeah. I went to a really big event for her. And so and for the whole group. So I was just kind of letting her, I knew that took a lot of energy. So then I just wanted to be there and support and enjoy. And so then I'm going to come back to go ahead and ask her.
Oh my God, I love it. I'm like, seriously, like, this is how, like, this kind of stuff starts. And, like, I hope that the HR and stuff, I think that will be really helpful for everybody just to kind of think about, like, okay, how can I get in front of my people? Where are they? Where can I find them? I think that's going to be really awesome. But yeah, sorry, that was like a tangent at the end of this with no purpose. But in any event, I hope that was helpful. I just tagged you guys in it in the stream. Please let me know if you need anything. I love you guys so much. My in-laws are in town this week. Not in-laws, but like boyfriend's parents. And they are gonna be here from Thursday till or Wednesday to Sunday. So if I don't respond immediately, please reach out to me. Like be like, hey, I really need your feedback on this. And I can take a minute and take a look at it for sure.
Is the best thing to do is like share through the Google Docs or share, or what's the best?
Share through Google Docs, or if you can include because you do a PowerPoint. Can you put a link to a PowerPoint somewhere? Or does it have actually I'm just gonna show you right now.
Okay.
Upload. It'll say upload here instead of a link. So Anise, for your Google Slides, put the link,
Yeah.
upload here, and it'll go to your instead of Drive, go to browse and it'll go to your desktop and you can include PowerPoint presentations.
I guess I missed something. So how do
you share it with me? Give me your
yes.
eval and you'll post it. It'll be like post in the stream. It won't be material. It'll just be like your post.
Okay.
And at the bottom of it, it'll say, here, let me just get this going so that you guys can have the notes if you want it. Within the stream, the over here, if you go to like announce something to the class, it'll say these buttons and it'll say upload file, and you can just copy and paste this here. Give me your eval, and then upload, and it'll go to your desktop, and you can upload a PowerPoint presentation there.
And that goes to you, or that goes to everybody?
It'll go to everybody. Like, so, because yeah, is that okay with you? You could also,
Yeah.
I think.
No, that's fine. I was just curious. I had never done that before, so I was just curious.
Yeah, really good question. I was like, and if you, I was like, I honestly do feel comfortable like that. You could just tag me in it, and I would be okay with that too.
Oh, I see what you're. Okay, I see how you do that too. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like this drop down.
Okay. Okay.
But
wonderful.
so good. It also like I would highly recommend. I'm sure you have provided genius feedback. I'm sure other people would for you as well if you wanted some feedback to share with everybody. But otherwise, I can just look at it too.
Okay, perfect.
All
Thank
right,
you.
amazing. And I also, you guys, I've got my VAs that are going to be checking and seeing my emails, and they're going to be letting me know when there's stuff in the Google Classroom that I need to look at. And I just hired them this week. So it's going to be even better. Like things are, I know that it's been okay, but we're going to get even more on it from this point forward.
And VAs is an acronym for
Virtual
Virtual
assistant.
assistant.
Oh, such a
Okay.
good question. Or EAs are executive assistants. Oh my God, I had so many questions about it when I
Yeah,
first, and
virtual
I was like,
assistant, yeah.
what the fuck is a VA? Everyone's talking about it. That's what it is. I'm so sorry. Yes.
Yeah, I
So
get a
they're all
lot.
in my junk now. They're like, and that's why I was worried about the Zoom call. I was like, I wonder if they like accidentally access some weird stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is what it is. But I love you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. And I cannot wait to see you next Tuesday and Monday, maybe for Tammy's thing, if you want to come.
Oh yeah.
All
Yes.
right.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.